Also take note that there are also laws when it comes to diffusion. And this is described by Fick's law, by C.K. Yes. That through diffusion through the tissues, it is described by Fick's law. It is the rate of transfer of a gas through a sheet of tissue, and it's proportional to, thank you, Sir Joe, through the tissue area, kung gaano kalaking tissue, or the difference in the gas partial pressure between the two sides. That means that if there is a difference between the pressure on one side of a barrier of a gas, there is also another pressure difference on the other side. Then there would be a difference also sa pagpasok. You can notice different changes that will happen going inside from the pressure of one gas as compared to the other one with a lesser or a different kind of pressure of gas. And always, it is inversely proportional to the tissue thickness. Kung mas makapal yung tissue, syempre affected ang pag-diffuse ng gas towards the other side of that membrane. Just take for example, as we have seen this one, the area of the gas barrier in the lung is very big, napakadami. That's the reason why napansin ninyo are the alveoli or the alveolus is always green flag. The reason for this is it will increase the surface diameter. Habang lumalaki, mas malaki ang chances na makakakuha ito ng gas. So if you put them side by side together, it will move around to 50-100 square meters. So it's just like this. So if oxygen and carbon dioxide, the pressure of oxygen within one side of that barrier or that tissue, let's just say na lang yan, yung capillary barrier or the alveolar capillary membrane, okay, is different from one side with that of the carbon dioxide that is being transmitted from going outside. I'll make it in simple terms. Sir Joe, favor naman, pwedeng connect na may isa-set ako na quiz or... Don't worry, it's a true or false question. So you have a 50-50 chance that you'll get it. Give me a bit of time lang na, so I just like this. Ang hindi ko pa rin Sir Joe, let me just show you dito. Okay, so ventilation is from here to here. It's actually how the gas goes inside, okay, and out. That's what we call ventilation. And then from here, the blood or the gases that is being transported by the blood going here to the capillary membrane is what we call now. Going here to here is what we call diffusion. So you can just imagine. If there is a problem within here that will transmit the gas that is here going here, magkakaroon tayo ng problema. Okay? So there are diseases of the lungs that will cause a problem within this area para hindi pumasok yung hangin. So as much as possible, we have what we call, I'm going to discuss it earlier, but later, but I'd just like you to take note of it. We have what we call a ventilation, which is described as a P, represented by a P, and diffusion, which is represented by a Q, otherwise known as the VQ or ventilation perfusion. Always remember that ventilation, papasok na hangin, dapat yung diffusion din should be always equal. The ratio should always be 1:1. Okay? Always remember that. It should be matched. Kung gaano karami yung gas na pumasok dun sa loob, ganun din dapat ang karami ang gas na dadalo dito para for the exchange of gases. Now, what would happen sometimes is that there could be a problem releasing of the gas or going inside of the gas. We now call that ventilation perfusion mismatch. Okay. Diffusion of ventilation perfusion, sorry. Ventilation perfusion. Diffusion is the movement from here to here. Perfusion is the movement of the molecules from here to here. Okay? Times
perfusion. Ventilation, perfusion.
Okay, let's continue.
Namali siya sa diffusion.
Ventilation,
Kinorek mo
hangin,
na.
diffusion, pasok. Perfusion is the gas that moves towards the airman.
Gas that moves. Ano ba yun? Sa baba? Ba yun?
Diffusion is D, or diffusion is D, perfusion is Q. Later on, we will discuss the difference between this and this one. Diffusion muna tayo kasi that's the important one. Kailan daw kayo mag-histology of the lungs? Bukas?
Gets. Nalito ako dun eh.
Okay. Tayo kay Fick's law. Okay, Fick's law states that the rate of diffusion of the gas to a tissue slice, which is the membrane of the alveolus and together with that of the capillary membrane, is proportional to the area, proportional, that means heavy say, but inversely proportional to the thickness. So habang kumakapal, the rate of diffusion, mas kumapaba. Pero kung mas manipis, mas mabilis. Diba? Try to think of it na lang, as a thinner slice of tissue, mas madaling pumasok ang hangin or gas. Pero kung mas makapal, mas mahihirapan pumasok. Ganun lang yun. Okay, so diffusion rate is proportional to the partial pressure difference. Remember that all gases, even in the environment, has partial pressures because the gases around us naman are different. Ano ang main gases in our environment? Hydrogen, oxygen. Which is the most dominant?
Nitrogen.
Very good. Ano ba? May kulang. So, oxygen. There's carbon dioxide only, but in very small amount. Okay? I guess it's only those three important gases that we have to know, especially sa respiratory. Okay, so the diffusion rate is proportional. It's very important. Always remember the Fick's law of distribution because this is the one that will determine if effective pa yung pagpasok ng hangin hindi. Okay, diffusion rate is proportional to the solubility of the gas. If it is easily dissolved, okay, in the tissue, but is always inversely proportional to the square root of the molecular weight. I'm not going to show you now the formula for that, but you have to know that it is inversely proportional to the square root of the molecular. It depends on the molecular weight of the gas. So the bigger the gas molecule, is it easier to penetrate the barrier? No. Ganun na naman eh, di ba? But if it is easily soluble, mas madali siyang because probably it's smaller weight, mas madali siyang pumasok. Yun lang. Those are the things that you need to know when it comes to solubility of the gases. So let's go to the net diffusion of the gas, which is always in one direction effect on the concentration gradient. Always remember that net diffusion of a gas will occur from a high concentration area toward a low concentration area. It's not the other way around. Kung mas mataas ang concentration ng area na ito, well, the best way that I can give you is that if somebody makes ubo in gas in a certain degree. Okay? Who among you here can smell it? Kung for example dito sa harap. Ano, sino ang mas makakaamoy lalo? Dito o yung nasa likod?
Likod.
Why? Kasi mas malapit at mas concentrated dito. No? But later on, it's going to disperse. What will happen to the smell? Mas, pag nag-disperse pa siya all throughout the entire large room, ano magyayari doon sa amoy? Magiging less na yung amoy. That's the way it is also with this. Okay, so remember that from a higher concentration gradient, pababa siya. Okay, so mag-disperse siya. Okay. Yes, that's the easiest way that I could think of.
So kapag lumayo na siya mismo.
Okay. Remember that gas pressures in a mixture of gases, like what I said a while ago, yung carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, they are mixed together in the entire environment natin. And they have their own set of partial pressures. Always remember that since they are partial down, they are mixed together, may kanya-kanya silang pressures accordingly because may certain dahil sila. The pressure is caused by multiple impacts of the moving molecules against its surface. So every time they move from each other, they have an impact also with each other to provide their own type of pressures. The pressure of a gas acting on the surface of the respiratory passages and the alveoli is proportional to the summated force. So if you total all the pressure of the gases, I will show you later, it will give you the total of the standard barometric pressure at sea level. The pressure is always directly proportional to the concentration of the gas molecules. So, syempre, kung mas mataas yung dami ng gas molecules sa iyo, mas marami rin ang kanyang ang transmissibility niya. Madali niyang transfer sa isang lugar to another. And the rate of diffusion of each of these gases is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas cause of that alone. Kung nag-isa lang yung gas na yun, if it is the most dominant gas, yan yung pinaka mataas ang diffusion rate. That's why which is called the partial pressure gas. Okay, so I just like you to take note of this. Ito yung standard barometric pressure. So 760 millimeters mercury. This is the pressure at sea level. So the partial pressures of the following. So ang pinakamataas, nitrogen. Very good. Okay, oxygen, the partial pressure is 159, and carbon dioxide napakababa lang, 0.2. But if you add them all together, you get to a total of 760. Okay, tama ba? Yes, 760. So, what does that mean? So, what do we breathe? How many of oxygen? How many percent of oxygen do we breathe? 21%. So 20.93. Okay, so always take note also that gases which are dissolved in water or in the body tissues, they also exert certain pressures because they dissolve in the molecules and are moving randomly and have, of course, when since they move, they have kinetic energy. And when they dissolve in the fluids, such as the surfactant natin or in the blood, the plasma, they encounter a surface. It also has its own partial pressure and energy in that location. If ang oxygen, ito na lang. Ano ang mas mataas ang pressure ng oxygen? Inside of the lungs or within the blood capillary system? In the lungs. So, since mas mataas siya, what's going to happen? Mag-diffuse siya, papunta siya doon. Kasi mas mataas ka, diba? Remember yung sinabi ko kanina? The higher the concentration gradient or the partial pressure, so that means mas mababa ang oxygen within the tissues doon sa circulation. Diba? Pero ano naman mas mataas ang carbon dioxide? We know for a fact that carbon dioxide in the air, atmosphere, is very, very low, at 0.2 lang. Pero in the blood membrane or the blood capillary system, it needs to be higher. No? Kasi once na pumunta yun doon, napumunta na siya doon sa lungs, since it's higher, kailangan niyang i-push out. Kasi mas mababa ang gradient ng carbon dioxide within the lungs. In that way, that's the reason why we exhale carbon dioxide. Okay? Now, problem will arise again if hindi na ilalabas ang carbon dioxide within the body. And that now can be measured by your arterial blood gases, which I think we did a lecture now, biochemistry. Okay, so do I need to give another lecture for this? So direction, bigyan ko na kayo ng exercises for that next time. So, anong mangyayari pag tumataas ang carbon dioxide in the body? What will happen to the pH system? Always remember that an increase in the carbon dioxide will make the blood more acidic. So it's inversely proportional. Okay, so what is going to happen? What does the body need to do? How is it going to eliminate carbon dioxide? Now, how is he going to make sure na mabilis ang pagbaba ng pagtaas ulit, pag-normalize ng pH? Hyperventilation. You got this right, you know? But that hyperventilate, what's it going to do? It's going to blow out the very good. Carbon dioxide. Always remember also that carbon dioxide, later on when we get to the neural control, carbon dioxide is the one that when it is raised, pag tumataas siya, it triggers something in the brain or in other parts of the body may mga chemoreceptors tayo, that it's going to make you breathe and breathe. Okay? However, that's only for the respiratory side. Paano naman kung matagal na hindi pa rin nagpa-compensate? What's going to come in next? If the lungs fail to normalize the pH because of its acidity, what's going to take over next? The kidneys. Diba? So the kidneys are going to go next. That's why pag sinasabi natin acute respiratory acidosis, that means that it's the lungs that are trying to compensate. But when you say chronic, or it's something chronic, metabolic acidosis, and that's a kidney that is trying now to compensate. Okay, anyway, more of that soon. Okay, so what factors determine the partial pressure of the gas dissolved in the fluid? Definitely by the solubility coefficient. Partial pressure of the gas in a solution is determined not only by its concentration, but by its solubility coefficient, which is defined as the volume of gas measured at the temperature and the pressure of the system that is dissolved by the liquid. And this is actually represented by Henry's law. Okay, so, if there is a certain partial pressure within this, yes, if there are two bars, one bar over here, the first bar and the second bar, the concentration of the dissolved gas equals to the partial pressure of the gas multiplied with the solubility coefficient. Okay, it states that the concentration of the gas in liquid is directly proportional to the solubility and the partial pressure of the gas. Of course, if there is a higher partial pressure of the gas, such as this one, the higher the number of gas molecules that will dissolve also in the fluid. Since kukunti lang ito as compared to this, mas marami ang na-dissolve within this portion of the liquid. So the concentration of the gas in the fluid will also be dependent on the solubility of the gas in the fluid. We need to know about this. Okay. So how does diffusion of the gas between the gas phase in the alveoli and the dissolved phase in the pulmonary blood? I'm just going to give you this picture over here. As you can see, mas mataas, like what I said a while ago, mas mataas ang oxygen concentration when it comes to sa alveoli. Sure. Mas marami ang pumapasok yan, mas mataas ang pressure. Okay. Unlike if when it comes to carbon dioxide, mas kukunti siya dito, ang carbon dioxide dito, mas marami, it's also going to have its tendency, mas mabilis siya mag-transmit towards the outside of the membrane barrier. When it comes to vapor pressure naman, ano bang normal body temperature natin? 36, 37. Okay. First remember that at normal body temperature, 37 degrees, the vapor pressure is 47 millimeters mercury. And take note that the vapor pressure of water depends entirely on the temperature of the water. That's why sometimes, diba, minsan ano bang mas mabilis ang diffusion rate or according to sa pag-unload ng oxygen towards the different parts of the bodies. Pag may lagnat ka o pag hinihinom ka? Pag may lagnat ka, diba? Pag may lagnat ka, what have you noticed? Mainit, mataas ang temp. The reason is that the body needs more oxygen. And so, what happens to your heart rate? Hindi this. No? It has to increase. It has to compensate. And that way, what happens now to the oxygen in the hemoglobin? Kailangan mas mabilis ang pagkaload. Have you na-lecture na ba about the oxygen hemoglobin association curve? Oh, yeah. Okay. So what are the factors that makes it shift to the left and right? Sabihin na natin what makes it easier mag-shift to the right. Kasi sinabing shift to the right, that means mas mabilis ang pagkaload ng oxygen. Okay, so what are those? What the pH, ano dapat? Decrease. Okay, kung decrease sa pH, ano dapat ang hydrogen concentration is? Mas mataas. What about the temperature? Mataas. Ano pa? 2 ppg and ano pa? There's one more. Okay, very good. Anyway, you will be going to that again soon. It's always just nice to know. Okay. Whenever diffusion occurs, these factors must be done. Okay, so a source of energy, which is caused by the kinetic motion of the molecule, and there should be a constant temperature. This is just what I showed you a while ago. Okay, with dissolved molecules has to move from one end to the other because of a higher source of energy provided by the kinetic motion dahil mas mataas ang kanyang, o mas marami siya, o mas mataas ang pressure. As you can see over here, there's another picture here where gas 2 is mas mataas, mas marami ang dami niya molecules. Thus it easily diffuses towards the part wherein mas competition. Like what I said, the higher the concentration, it moves to a lower concentration gradient. And what are those factors? There are actually 5 factors that affect the rate of gas diffusion in a fluid. First is the solubility of the gas. I already mentioned it a while ago. If it becomes more soluble, mas madali siya mas mabilis siyang mag-diffuse within the liquid. The second is the cross-sectional area. Mas malaki. Okay. The greater the cross-sectional area, diffusion pathway, the greater the total number of molecules that needs to be diffused. Siyempre, kung mas malaki, the more chances dapat na mapunta yung gases na yung within a certain area kung mas marami. No? Just think, for example, of a large stadium where people are trying to get out of that stadium, sasakay o sabihin na natin dito sa ISU, nag-aabang ng bus. There should be also a certain amount of transportation outside na pwedeng makadala ng mga estudyante para makauwi sila. Okay? That's the easiest idea that you can think of. Also, another factor is the distance to which the gas must diffuse. Gaano kalayo? Baka naman sobrang layo. Hindi rin pwede. Kagaya dito, from here, sino ba sa inyo naglalakad from here going dun sa gate? Malayo, no? Swerte nila yung sasakyan. Remember that sometimes, mas marami na sasakyan doon, pero the time for you to take from going here, going outside, will take a lot of time. By the time na nakarating na kayo doon, wala na kayong masakyan. So, something like that. Also, there is a molecular weight of the gas. So, the greater the velocity of the kinetic movement of the molecules, the greater the weight of the diffusion of gas. Kung mas mabilis kayo pumunta, marami nga kayo, tumatakbo kayo sabay-sabay, pumunta doon, mas mabilis kayo makakuha ng sasakyan. And of course, the temperature of the fluid must always be relatively constant. It has to be constant, otherwise it's not going to diffuse. That's the reason why oxygen is sometimes, oxygen association going towards the different tissues is affected in different temperature states of a person. Kung mas may lagnat ka, mas mabilis ang pagkaroon ng oxygen towards the tissues. Kung giniginaw ka, hindi. With certain exercises. What about when the diffusion of gases through the tissues naman? All gases that are respiratory, always remember, lahat ng respiratory gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, they are highly important, they are highly soluble in all the cell membranes. The major limitation only is the rate at which the gas can diffuse through the tissue water instead of through the cell membrane. So, like what I mentioned a while ago, there has to be a constant temperature. There also has a certain number of tissues. So, a person who is more dehydrated, mas kukunti ang chances niya na makakuha ng mga necessary na gases needed for the body. So, these are just some of the compositions of the alveolar air and the atmospheric air that are different. Alveolar air, remember, does not have the same concentrations of the gases of the atmospheric air. Hindi naman. Kasi hindi naman na lahat ng nalalangkap ninyo ng carbon dioxide, nitrogen. So it will always be the same once it reaches your lungs. Oxygen is always constantly being absorbed by the pulmonary blood from the alveolar air. Yan ang gusto natin. That's what we call ventilation. And then perfusion. Carbon dioxide is always constantly diffusing from the pulmonary blood, yun yung capillaridad natin, going into the alveoli. So dapat maganda, paglabas ng carbon dioxide, maganda pasok ng oxygen sa atin. And dry atmospheric air that enters the respiratory passages is always humidified even before it reaches the alveoli. That's the reason why we have our nose, our upper respiratory system. Para pagpasok pa lang dyan ng oxygen, humidified na siya Para pag pumasok siya doon, it will be utilized by the body. Kasi mas maganda ang diffusion kung nasa tubig siya. Have you noticed bakit yung mga oxygen tanks natin, di ba? Meron tubig lang na nagpapakura. Remember that it has to be mixed together with water for it to be able to be dispersed within the system of the body para mas madali siya mag-utilize. This just shows some of the partial pressures of the gases in atmospheric air, tapos pag-humidify. Mga nice to know lang. Always remember also that the rate at which the alveolar air is always renewed by the atmospheric air. And the importance of the functional residual capacity, okay, measures about 2,300 milliliters per liter to expel with the expiration. Okay. The average male functional FRC, okay, which is the volume of air remaining in the lungs at the end of normal expiration, measures about 2,300 milliliters per liter. And only 350 milliliters of new air is brought into the alveoli every time we have a normal inspiration. And the same amount of old air is expired. Remember that there is a point na pag umigat na malalim, merong point iba na walang gas exchange. So ano lang na i-utilize yung mga nandun lang sa merong exchange of gases. And then syempre, pag nag-exhale ka na naman, sasama na naman yung nandun sa may dead space mo sa conducting airways. So the volume of alveolar air is replaced by new atmospheric air with each breath. Is only 1/7 of the entire total na nilalaki. That's why continuous tayo nag-breathe in order for it to be replenished. Kasi hindi naman natin nakukuha yung isang nakapagalan lahat na supply niya with that kind of fresh air. So it just shows here, so multiple breaths are always required to exchange most of the alveolar air. Okay, so the first breath, and then first breath, second breath, third breath. Every time mapapapalitan niya. Or next. So this is just nice to know. My audience already mentioned it. There is also an importance of slow replacement of the alveolar air. The reason why sometimes mas mabagal ang pag-replenish or to change the alveolar air ng nandun is because it prevents sudden changes in the gas concentrations in the blood. Kasi pag pumapasok yun, pataas yung concentration ng oxygen, which apparently shouldn't be. Kailangan na lumabas yung konti, tapos mag-replenish lang siya to receive the same amount of oxygen that the lungs has to receive in order for it to be transmitted through the pulmonary blood or pulmonary circulation. It also makes the respiratory control mechanism much more stable than it would be otherwise. Remember, I mentioned a while ago that kung mababa ang carbon dioxide mo, ano ang mangyayari sa breathing mo? You become smaller. Remember that the gas that will enable you to breathe, the one that will trigger you to breathe will always be carbon dioxide. Okay? The higher the carbon dioxide, the more chances na hihinga ka. Pero kung bumababa yan, ano mangyayari? Walang nag-trigger sa system mo to say na, uy, huminga ka kasi marami ka carbon dioxide. Pero since wala, mababa, yun ang mangyayari. Carbon dioxide is very, very low. And so there won't be any more trigger for your brain to say that we have to breathe and breathe. Okay, so it also helps prevent excessive increases and decreases in tissue oxygenation, tissue carbon dioxide concentration, and tissue pH when respiration is temporarily interrupted. You can just imagine the balance of the body whenever it comes to the gases na pumapasok at yung nailalabas natin. It makes sure na hindi sobra, hindi rin kulang yung kailangan ng body. So it has to come into a state of balance in order for it to regulate, knowing na ito lang ang sapat na amount na kailangan ng oxygen sa katawan natin at carbon dioxide na dapat ilabas ng katawan natin. So the oxygen concentration and the partial pressure in the alveoli, oxygen concentration in the alveoli will always be controlled by the rate of the absorption of oxygen that goes inside of the blood and the rate of the entry of the new oxygen into the lungs by ventilatory process. Kung mabilis ka huminga, of course, the concentration will also change as well. Such as this one, the picture here. It shows the effect of both the alveolar ventilation and the rate of oxygen absorption in the blood on the alveolar partial pressure. So, one curve of this represents the rate of 1,000 liters per minute. Habang tumataas na din yan. However, in normal alveolar ventilation, it's over here lang. It's makababa. Hindi na nare-receive natin yung oxygen. That's the upper limit of maximum oxygen. Of course, the same goes true with carbon dioxide concentration naman. Okay. Siyempre, it's always uniform in the blood. Mas marami na produce, kailangan ilabas rin yung carbon dioxide. But also it's being carried from the blood towards the alveoli. And this just shows that the effect of the alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide mas mataas na tungkol sa partial pressure within the blood circulation itself na kailangan yung ilabas as compared to that of the alveolar carbon dioxide. Okay, so let's take that one. Okay, we're done now with the principles of the diffusion of gas. Pupunta na tayo sa diffusion of gases through the respiratory membrane. Balik tayo dito sa respiratory unit. The respiratory unit is composed of the respiratory bronchiole, the alveolar ducts, the antrum, and the alveoli. So, the alveoli is actually the point, yung end point na yan. Diyan na dapat mangyayari yung gas exchange. Remember that the alveolar walls is extremely thin. The reason why is that para mas madali ang diffusion. So, if the alveolar wall is thicker, problems may arise. Or something that is impeding the alveolar wall. And between the alveolar wall is almost a solid network of interconnecting capillaries. The alveolar gases are always in close proximity with the blood and the pulmonary capillaries. So, ngayon, the respiratory bronchiole, beyond, there are the alveolar ducts, the atria as well, and the alveoli. So, napakaraming alveoli yan sa lungs, around 300 million. So, as you can see over here, yung mga naka-interspersed in between that are your capillaries there. That's our pulmonary capillaries. So, makakapit talaga sila. So, para pumasok nito sa alveoli, diretso na siyang magagamit ng pulmonary capillaries natin. Okay, so this is just a picture of it all. So the terminal bronchiole, ayan, the atrium, it's over there. So this is what it looks like. Ganyan yung itsura ng alveoli. As you can see, marami siyang bugas. And that small holes there are capable enough to bring those gases to occur. Interspersed also with this. If this is the alveolus, as you can see, simple squamous, para makapasok yan yung capillaries mo. Okay, punta na tayo din sa capillary the respiratory membrane. When you say respiratory membrane, there are actually 6 layers, or 6 parts of it. First is the layer of fluid which contains the surfactant. Yun yung pinaka-first. The second is the alveolar epithelium, which is composed of thin epithelial cells. What kind of epithelial cells? What kind of tissue is this? Squamous. Good. And then there is an epithelial basement membrane. It's something that holds the framework of the epithelium. There is also the thin interstitial space in between the alveolar epithelium and the epithelial membrane. So, syempre, the space in between that, that's what we call the interstitial space between the alveoli and the capillary membrane. We also have now the capillary basement membrane, that is the places that fuses with the alveolar epithelial basement membrane. And lastly, the capillary endothelial membrane. You say epithelial, nasa loob. Yung capillary is the inside inner lining of the wall. So you could just imagine yung hirap na dadaanan ngayon ng gas para lang makapunta doon sa pulmonary capillary there. Okay, so from here, once na pumasok, kailangan niyang madaanan niya lahat hanggang makapasok para ma-deliver niya yung oxygen doon sa red blood cell. And that is now what we call diffusion. Okay? So it goes here and there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we will get it all in all. So do you remember the interstitial space I told you about? The one that is in between. This is your alveoli, and this is your capillary membrane. The one in between here is the interstitial space. It's very important to take note of that because the interstitial spaces are also affected by some disease states in the respiratory system na kapag may bumara dyan, okay, pumapal yan, nagkakaproblema ang diffusion of interstitial space. So, nice to know things about the respiratory membrane. Its thickness ranges about 0.2 to 0.6 micrometers. Napakatilis, no? It is thicker only at the cell nuclei. Pag meron nuclei doon, well, syempre mas makapal. No? However, it passes through the sides. The pulmonary capillaries, the diameter is approximately at 5 micrometers, and RBCs can squeeze through touching the capillary walls. So, isa-isa yan, dumadaan talaga yung capillaries. Yung red blood cells para makuha niyo yung oxygen na readjustment. And gas diffusion, its minimal plasma barrier between the alveolus and the RBC. It enhances the oxygen and carbon dioxide diffusion speed. So the thinner it is, mas mabilis ang pag-diffuse ng oxygen towards the lungs and carbon dioxide outside, going to the lungs. Now, what are the things that will affect the rate of gas diffusion through the respiratory membrane? So ano mga pwedeng mangyari that will affect yung bilis ng pag-diffuse ng gases from the alveoli going towards the blood? Capillary bed. Okay. It is the thickness of the membrane. Sabi natin, habang kumakapal, mas nahihirapan ngayon pumasok yung gas. The surface area, syempre, pag sira ang entire surface membrane, mas lesser na yun ang surface tension natin. Or, mas mababa ang surface area, mas lesser ang oxygen na pumapasok. The diffusion coefficient of the gas in the substance of the membrane, kung mas mababa siya, ang diffusion rate siya, mas mababa rin ang even though if your respiratory membrane is normal. And the partial pressure difference of the gas between the two sides of the membrane. If what happens is mas mataas ang carbon dioxide in this side of the membrane as compared to the other side, no, magkakaroon na tayo ng problem. If what is expected is dapat mas mataas ang pressure of oxygen on this side, it has to be able to transmit it towards the other end. But if it remains the same of the usual, what we expect to be normal partial pressure in that, then that is what we expect it to be. When it comes to the thickness of the membrane, say nothing. Right? The thickness of the membrane, like take for example, if there is fluid in the interstitial, like what I mentioned a while ago, or the alveoli, as in pneumonia or congestive heart failure, is increased due to pulmonary edema or some bacteria in pneumonia. That increases the permeability of the capillary membrane. Ang nangyayari, the capillary membrane increases yung permeability. However, ang problema naman is the interstitial alveoli. Hindi naman siya makapatid because it is flooded. Kasi, remember, na sinasabi ngayon ng pulmonary capillaries, uy, wala akong nakukuha oxygen. Kailangan, what will happen? It has to constrict or dilate pa? Kailangan pa niya yung dilate. Kailangan pa. We need to get more. It's kulang. Okay? Also, fibrotic lung disease increases the thickness in some portions. Yan yung may mga tinatawag na interstitial lung diseases, such as those as mga nag-work sa mga coal miners. Okay? Pag pumunta ng mga asbestosis na, wala rin kaninang ano na sila, hindi na sila makahinga ng maayos. It's already still thick because the membrane has already been coated with lots and lots of inflammatory particles. The thickness may increase up to 3 to 6 millimeters. Ang thickness lang naman ng membrane is manipis lang yan. Okay? Manipis na. 4 to 6. Whatever, pwede siya umakyat up to 3 to 6 millimeters. So it's very, very thick. Okay, so what happens now? The rate of diffusion is increased. So, the surface area naman tayo. Example of this is emphysema. I guess it would be better to draw it on the in emphysema, what usually happens, normally your alveoli should look like this. In emphysema, so what have you noticed? The surface area is mas mababa. Ganyan na nangyayari. So, kung among you hear smoke? Anyone here smokes? I don't want to be your doctor. I don't want you to be my patient, please. So I'd rather you stop smoking. I'm with the council on control of tobacco, and it has been noted that vaping, the vape, is already considered as one of the most important problems in the society. The reason why, as compared to that, bakit hindi na control? Because paiba-ibang flavors, they're always improving. Diba? Vape has lots of room for improvement para mas masarap. Okay? So in smokers or cancer patients or mga genetic abnormalities, yeah, they degrade the alveolar wall. So meron din tinatawag na alpha-1 antitrypsin, which inhibits the effect of elastase, which is very important for the surface area. Okay? Those are nice to know. So decreasing the total surface area leads to impairment of gas exchange. What about the diffusion coefficient naman? So it depends on the gas solubility of the membrane, and it is inversely proportional to the square root of the gas's molecular weight. Take for example, if the molecular weight of a gas is higher, the density is also higher as well, and the rate of diffusion is less. Mas mataas ang molecular weight ng carbon dioxide as compared to that. Hindi siya kasing bilis na ng oxygen. Because oxygen has a lower molecular weight than carbon dioxide, it could be expected that it would diffuse across the respiratory membrane about 1.2 times faster. That's the reason why, even though if we inhale a certain amounts of carbon dioxide, hindi lahat yung papasok sa body natin. Okay? But have you noticed na kahit na pumarap kayo sa tambucho ng isang maruming truck, which I hope na huwag ninyong gawin, you will still get a certain amount of oxygen because hindi naman kaya ng molecular weight ng carbon dioxide na masok din sa oxygen. Kaya uupo kayo ng uupo. And last, the partial pressure difference of the gas. Okay, you have to ask, is the difference of the partial pressure of gas in the alveoli and the partial pressure of the gas in the pulmonary capillary blood the same or equal, or is it higher or lower? Okay, the higher diffusion from higher gradient to lower gradient. It is also the measure of the total number of molecules of a particular gas driving a unit area of the alveolar surface of the membrane in unit time. And the pressure of the gas in the blood represents the number of molecules that attempt to escape from the blood in the opposite direction. Let me just show you this simple diagram that comes with it. So, syempre, kung mas mataas ang oxygen dito, it will easily diffuse towards the capillary or the respiratory capillary. That's the normal, no? Since mas mataas ang partial pressure of oxygen within the alveoli, it has to be able to move towards the capillary membrane. Unlike ang carbon dioxide, mas mababa, pero mas mataas siya dito sa pulmonary circulation. Since mas mataas siya, this is the one that is going to pull out para i-exhale natin. You also have the diffusing capacity for the respiratory membrane. Okay, so this is the volume of gas that will diffuse through the membrane, each minute for the partial difference of 1 millimeter mercury. Let's just for example. Let's see if this is necessary. Okay, I'll give you these notes. These are just, some of them are just nice to know. Okay. Okay, let's have a bit of a break before we proceed to ventilation perfusion relationships, the one that I was discussing.